Hello everybody and welcome to this week's episode of Analysing Anfield. Josh Williams once again joined with David Hughes. How are you doing, mate? You okay?
Yeah, I'm alright, mate. I'm okay.
We are recording. Well, you're a bit rushed off your feet, aren't you? You've made accommodations to fit us in today.
That's it, mate. Wild, 24 hours and probably going to get a lot more hectic over the next few days as well.
Yeah, we are recording the day after the results, so it still feels very fresh. This podcast, I'm assuming, will go up Tuesday morning, but we'll get into it anyway. We're going to have to address the United game, obviously, how it went, what went wrong, things like that. We're going to address very briefly Genk midweek, and we're going to talk about the upcoming match with Spurs. I'm going to have to keep to a little bit of a time limit today, but we'll see how we go. So, I think firstly on United, I think it went certainly how I was expecting. I don't know about yourself. I thought it was a horrible match to watch from a Liverpool perspective.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was going to be. We said actually, didn't we, that it would be a massive game in Liverpool's kind of season. But I will be honest. Although we expected it to be tight, I thought this Liverpool side would have enough about them to get the win. Yeah. But it had a lot of February's game in it, didn't it? It did.
I thought that it was gonna. I thought that Liverpool's maturity will have shown in comparison to last year. Obviously now European champions, now done a title run and fell a little bit short. But I thought that the whole nature of Liverpool going on to one more step will have shown. And I thought Solskjaer would be a downgrade on Mourinho's tactical plan that he imposed when we last went to Old Trafford. Oh no, what was Solskjaer last time, wasn't it?
Was,
but
yeah.
That game was crazy anyway. It got mixed up by all kinds of injuries and things. And I just thought this time would be slightly different in terms of us managing to find a way through and get a result. But just on the general formations, general team selections, obviously David De Gea played, which was a bit of a surprise.
I think that would give United a massive boost. And they probably knew behind the scenes, didn't they? But I think that would give them a boost before the game.
Yeah. Fergie tactics.
You know what? The more I think about it, I think Solskjaer has deployed a little bit of that. I think he knew he was going to play a few days ago. Yeah,
and an even bigger boost, probably seeing Salah not even in the squad.
Yeah,
which again was quite surprising from my perspective.
Yeah,
Origi came in for him, and beyond that, it was very much the Liverpool team that you come to expect. But as a result of that, I think United were able to tailor a game plan specifically to the Liverpool that they knew they were going to face.
Yeah.
The 4-2-3-1 that we said they've used in every match went completely out the window.
Yeah.
And this was literally a tailored plan specifically for Liverpool that we probably won't see again for the rest of the season, which is annoying. But I thought from my perspective they got it spot on.
Yeah, they did. I wrote a piece for the Manchester Evening News about a week ago where I was talking about how Solskjaer basically settled on a 2 up top formation last season, and it seemed to be his preferred, but he hasn't been able to do it this season because of injuries and losing key personnel like Lukaku and Sanchez, who may have been out of form, but he was still forward players. He hasn't been able to play it. He found a way to do it with James, which I don't think he could do consistently, but you can understand why. Martial's pacey, good dribbler. James is also pacey, good dribbler. And it just worked for them, didn't it?
I think it was almost a better version of what Arsenal used at Anfield in terms of deploying 2 mobile, fast strikers who are going to attack the channels and setting up with a back 3. United was very much a back 3 compared to Arsenal's, who, Emery's side were much more inclined to just retreat into a full back 5, I think. But United 3-5-1-2, I think it was for the most part.
Yeah,
with Pereira just behind Rashford and James, and Wan-Bissaka, who again managed to start, and Ashley Young on the left, both took up really high positions so that they could close down the likes of Trent and Robertson, who are Liverpool's main ball progressors. And this is an important point to make because I think we're going to spend a fair amount now just addressing. It is a problem what Liverpool are suffering from at the minute. Every now and then it is really. I've spoke about it last season. I wrote about it. I got asked to write by the Echo what the next stage of Liverpool's tactical development may be, and I wrote about there will be certain matches whereby Trent and Robertson are nullified, and they're not able to influence the game as much in the final third, whether that be due to tactics, whether that be due to they're up against the top opponents, and Liverpool need a way of getting around that. And I think we suffered from it again, because we played, Wijnaldum, Henderson, Fabinho in midfield. You're not going to get that midfield penetration there. Salah was obviously out, so we were heavily reliant on Trent and Robertson to deliver, supply the likes of Mane and Firmino, get us into the final third, put us up the field, and it just didn't work.
I warned, didn't I, on the last show? Liverpool cannot get sucked into doing deep crosses from them two into the box, because it just will not work. Maguire's one of the best headers in the Premier League, and there was just too many times where they were relying on that tactic and it was easily defended against. But just going back to the point which you're probably progressing on to, and I actually wrote something last week for Liverpool.com, very similar, saying how Liverpool's next stage, and certainly in midfield, will be looking for that progressive ball driving midfield, shall we say, because they just haven't got it. And I think Naby's obviously going to be that person, isn't he? But just with his kind of stop-start career so far, mainly due to injury, they haven't quite benefited from it yet. And obviously he comes in second half and you see the difference. But yeah, Liverpool losing too much of a game, relying on the fullbacks when on that particular day it's not going to work, or the opposition have got a good tactic to nullify it.
Yeah. I mean, we'll touch on Naby's contribution in a sec, but I do think that Liverpool are understandably heavily reliant on their fullbacks to go forward. I think Klopp has looked at his midfield profiles, looked at his fullback profiles, and identified his midfielders as almost defensive phase players, really, whereas the fullbacks are offensive phase players almost, and people I think struggle to come to terms with that, just because of the age-old perception on the game is a fullback's a defender and a midfielder is, well, a bit of both, but supposed to offer more going forward than a fullback is.
Yeah, I think a massive issue is, it doesn't matter how good or how proficient you are in one area. So say Liverpool are arguably the best in Europe in terms of their fullback positions, but if you start becoming too reliant on one form of attack, then the opposition know what they have to nullify when they come up against you. And we often kind of applaud Klopp because of the unpredictability Liverpool sometimes have. They can hit you in so many different ways, can't they? They can, if you stop them one way, they can create another. But if you lose that unpredictability, then you do become a little bit one-dimensional, and then a lot easier to defend against. And at times it felt like that's what we were seeing at Old Trafford on Sunday. Yeah,
it's just like, in tactics in general, you will always eventually, if you stick with the same kind of plan, you will always eventually have those tactics found out. Now, I'm not saying Liverpool have been found out by any means, and I'm not saying that Liverpool needs to restart or start from scratch or whatever, but there will be certain matches where we need an alternative means of attacking than Trent and Robertson. And I think United now, particularly at Old Trafford, there's no way Klopp should go to Old Trafford again with a midfield as sideways as that. The next time, he should learn from this. The next time he goes to Old Trafford, we need to have an attacking midfield, if you like, a midfield with a Naby Keita in it, an Oxlade-Chamberlain in it, maybe. Possibly even a 4-2-3-1 with a Shaqiri.
I was just about to say, do you think a 4-2-3-1 could be the answer?
Well, last season we were going through that period where we hadn't beat United for a while, despite being the better team. Mourinho came to Anfield And Mourinho's obviously the master of nullifying your strengths and coming up with a game for a one-off fixture. And I think Klopp was aware of that, and Klopp almost planned ahead for Mourinho's game. Started surprisingly with a 4-2-3-1. Shaqiri played, I think Keita played on the left. And I think it just caught United by surprise, and they just couldn't handle us for the first half an hour in particular. We obviously scored, we obviously won the game 3-1. And I think that's something that Klopp's going to have to consider now for the next Old Trafford trip, because whatever it may be, whether it's the side of the pitch, how the drive United players have maybe got to actually get one over on Liverpool, but for whatever reason, Trent and Robertson just aren't able to have as big of an influence on Liverpool's offensive game, Liverpool's ball progression, Liverpool's chance creation. All that just doesn't seem to be as there when we go to Old Trafford. So I just think we need an alternative means of, when the emphasis is placed on the centre of midfield. Okay, we can't create. We need you to start doing something.
Yeah,
they're not that type of player.
No, they lack that explosion, I suppose I would say. So if they receive the ball, the defending side know that they're looking for the next, even if it's a progressive pass, they're looking for the next pass, aren't they? Whereas the likes of Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain, they'll pick the ball up, and they've got that unpredictability in the sense that they could dribble at you or drive or progress the ball by different means. And that midfield that started yesterday just doesn't have that in the locker, and the opposition know that they don't have that as well. It makes it so much easier to defend against.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke with Chris before, and I think this is an important point worth making. We only ever talk about the midfield when the fullbacks are nullified. The midfield is generally fine because the system works. It's a functional system. There's balance there. Everything works in harmony and that sort of thing. It's when the fullbacks are nullified, that's when the midfield becomes the talk. That's when the midfield becomes the chat. I don't think Liverpool are in a position whereby they need to start playing David Silva's in central midfield every single week. It's not that big of an issue. It's just in certain games like this, we just need that player. The player who's going to be a bit more composed in tight spaces. The player who's going to look forward rather than looking sideways. The player who's going to be a bit more unpredictable on the ball rather than the predictable passes that maybe Jordan Henderson makes and
it's probably
Wijnaldum makes.
It's probably fair to sum it up. They just need the plan B, I suppose, isn't it? Because the plan A is successful and will be successful for 85% of the fixtures they play. That's
a necessary point to make. Liverpool. This isn't Liverpool needing a totally new plan.
Yeah.
It's just a bit of a plan B whereby the fullbacks aren't having as much of an influence. Where else can we get this ball progression from?
Definitely.
And just to capture that, obviously, this is a mad stat. This came from Chris before, and I've looked further into it to get a bit more on it. But Naby Keita played 15 minutes. Jordan Henderson played, I'm gonna say 75 or something like that. In that 15-minute period, Naby Keita completed 23 passes. Henderson completed 26. So 3 more passes completed for Henderson, despite playing considerably about an hour more.
Yeah, 3 to 4 times as much as long.
Now, I like Henderson. I think Henderson's generally very useful. This isn't a means of slating him, nothing like that. This is just, in certain match scenarios, you need a different type of play. You need something different. Naby offered that. I looked at forward passes as well. Henderson, the whole match, 3 forward passes. Wijnaldum, the whole match, 3 forward passes. Naby Keita, 15 minutes, 3 forward passes. Passes to the final third. Naby completed 5. Gini completed 4. Henderson completed 1. It's just not great.
No.
The numbers that, obviously, numbers can be used a bit.
Well, yeah,
especially
game
passing
situations and stuff. Suppose they were on the offensive. But I think when it's so lopsided like that, it's pretty telling, isn't it?
Yeah, especially passing numbers as well. Passing numbers can usually be a bit weird in that, can't they? But I think it's something that Klopp has to consider now in bigger matches. Maybe when the fullbacks are going to struggle to influence the play as much.
I'll ask you a question. I think we can both agree that the substitutions were good moves, weren't they?
Yeah.
Did they come too late?
Cases came too late.
Yeah.
But I think that takes us on to the next point. I think Klopp's moves from the sideline were generally good. I think he generally had a positive impact on the game. For example, at half time we switched from 4-3-3 to 4-2-3-1. And that did two things for me really. The main thing it did was, rather than Ashley Young being able to close down Trent every time, and rather than Wan-Bissaka having to close down Robertson every time, they were instead occupied then by a wide player in Henderson, who was playing right flank, which is not ideal.
No.
So it gave Trent a bit of space and occupied the wing backs. So that was a bit of a positive move, and in addition, it obviously gave Fabinho a partner in the centre of the park. If you're in a double pivot, your general movements are more side to side rather than forwards and backwards kind of thing. So if you've got Rashford and Daniel James attacking the channels, it just offered a bit more comfort, I thought. And I think the moves we made to bring on players like Keita, Lallana, Oxlade-Chamberlain, they're just generally technically better players, with the ball at the feet. Better control, better first touch. And I think that was one thing Liverpool really lacked throughout the course of the match, the first touch of every player, the control. God, I don't know if it was the stage of the match. I don't know if it was definitely influenced by United's game, don't get me wrong.
I think it was just the occasion. I still maintain that was going to be one of the bigger games of the season. And okay, Liverpool avoided defeat, but if Liverpool would have won that yesterday, 8 points clear after going to Old Trafford, I think they probably would have known they were. It's too fair to say they were there, but they were certainly on the right path. And although they still are 6 points clear, let's be honest, at the end of October was fantastic, but it just felt like a massive fixture in the season.
Yeah, it did. And even that tactical change that freed up a bit of space for the likes of Trent, his answer to being given that space was then to start putting crosses in. Those crosses are usually really, really dangerous, but again, you've got Harry Maguire in the penalty box.
It's the wrong decision. He's
arguably the best player in the league alongside Van Dijk for me. It was very easy to defend against for a lot of it, I thought. Some of the areas he crossed from as well, they were okay, but they were just maybe 5 yards off that real, inside right dangerous whipping position. Yeah, that whereby it's impossible to defend against.
They felt less purposeful and more not hitting hopes, but you know what I'm trying to say.
That comes to mind for me.
Yeah, like they were more get them in and see what happens as opposed to having targets.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't great really.
Yeah, I mean, I think the likes of Lallana and players like that give us a bit more of a foothold on the game. United, I think, around the hour mark. If you look at the PPDA around the hour mark, it just takes a massive hit. Yeah. And he just literally at that point he seemed to just accept that, okay, we're going to sit on the lead for half an hour, which wasn't a great idea. No. Because you were causing
I also
problems.
thought Solskjaer was very slow to change it as well. I think they desperately need some fresh legs in there, but he didn't.
Yeah, I think the general plan Solskjaer came up with before the match was obviously really, very good at stopping us and causing us problems. Klopp seemed to respond to that. He brought on technical players because we couldn't get our foot on the ball. He switched to 4-2-3-1 to give our main creators, fullbacks, a bit more space. But, just again, that midfielder we needed. Yeah. Well, not even the midfielder, just an alternative midfield dynamic whereby the fullbacks can accept we'll stay back and some midfielders can take a few more risks and things like that.
I think that is destined to be Naby. It's just he's got to. He just needs to kind of get up to speed with the side now and become a regular. You know, he desperately doesn't need any more setbacks, and I think if he can get a run on the side now, he can be that person.
Yeah, I mean, as bad as Liverpool's performance was, we still managed to 1-1. We still didn't actually lose, and if you look at the chances we conceded, if we'd have won, it would have been along the lines of the ugly win thing.
Yeah,
because he didn't really create much at all. United. No. The chance that they did create and they scored from, I think amassed about, I think it was about 80% of their XG along that was this one chance.
Yeah.
And it obviously derived with, this isn't the podcast for this. We're not going to go on about this for very long at all. But it did derive from an incident, I think it's safe to say. What are your thoughts? I know what your thoughts are actually, because I've seen it on Twitter.
Yeah, you know what? Actually,
you're going to upset a few here.
No, they've adapted slightly. So hear me out.
Who? Oh, your thoughts?
My opinion.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So initially, I thought, no, it's not a foul, and it shouldn't be overturned by VAR. But at full time, I honestly thought Atkinson had a woeful game, and he was very lopsided for United. And he actually set a tone for the fouls he was given for United to basically mean that Origi one should have been a foul.
Yeah.
In a different game, I think you could argue that's not a foul, but he was giving them to United all day. So on that basis,
that's a great point. Yeah, he was.
It should be a foul. That being said, I don't think it was clear and obvious enough in terms of the rule book for VAR to overturn it. Just my opinion. Please don't fall out with me.
No, I think I didn't expect VAR to overturn it, so I've got no faith in that sort of thing. I think it's flawed at the minute the way decisions are made. But we'll leave that for another podcast. For me, I think it was a foul. I thought that at the time, and that's just based on, I watch a lot of football, and they get given those fouls. I think regardless of whether Lindelof fouls him or not, McTominay wins the ball because his first touch is off, Origi's first touch is off regardless of the contact. I think he goes down as a means of getting himself out of that. The fact that he'd been dispossessed by McTominay. But Lindelof goes for the ball, he's, up his backside, kicks the player, doesn't kick the ball. It is a foul. Okay. I don't know the referee's vision at the time. I don't know if he was if it was interrupted or what. But it's just the type of foul that every week is given. And I think, maybe 8 out of 10 of those get given. So for it to not be given and us to concede from it is hard to take. Especially considering we go up the other end a couple of minutes later and score. And it's ruled out rightfully. But the technology is being rightly applied regarding handballs, and then for certain situations that are, I suppose, deemed as, subjective.
Yeah,
they're just opting not to use it at all, not even to ask the question or send the referee over to the monitor or whatever.
I suppose in that situation, even though it's not clear and obvious in their eyes, right? Should it be impacted really if it then leads to a game-deciding goal? Like that should really increase the severity of the situation. Really,
yeah, exactly.
And the decision.
It was a massive goal, and it weren't great from Liverpool's perspective to concede that. As I said, even if Origi isn't fouled, McTominay still gets that ball. We still concede that counter. So we were wide open anyway.
Was there any fault? In your eyes, Matip, or just great striker work? It
was good striker work, don't get me wrong, but we do usually deal with them. We don't usually concede goals like that. I thought Matip could have been a bit more on his toes, to be honest, not a great goal to concede at all.
Just on that, by the way, please no one be giving me any stick about that. As I said, I think if the foul was given, it was more than fair. It was my initial thought that it wasn't.
It really did feel as though he was a bit of bias,
I honestly thought he had a really bad game.
He was really one-sided, and I think for Solskjaer...
As I said, he was giving them to United, which makes me believe he should have given it to Liverpool on that basis.
Yeah, for Solskjaer after the game to say the referee was man of the match, that's just like
that's
secret talk for saying the referee give us a hand there. Because,
Yeah.
That's just not a common statement to make.
No.
There's no way any
It's
boss
also
would make that
poor
statement.
to make, very brazen. That.
There's no way any boss would make that statement if the referee was completely fair throughout. Because he wouldn't feel a need. So he's made that statement because he's aware, really, that the referee's allowed his game to be employed a little bit unfairly in certain moments.
I agree.
But anyway, I think generally the draw was fair for me. I think if you look at the XG, I think it's quite level. I'll get that up now, but I just don't think either side did enough to win. I don't think either side particularly created, and that was clear cut apart from the Rashford goal. So yeah, don't think either team can really have many complaints over the end result.
No, I don't. I don't think. I think it says it all. United conceded the goal later on and didn't seem deflated at all, did they? Really, they were still pretty content with the results. And yeah, as I said, it for me it all just boils down to a little bit of disappointment from a Liverpool perspective. I think had they been on the game there, and okay, as we've just touched on for a good 15-20 minutes, Solskjaer did deploy some really good tactics in nullifying Liverpool, but had Liverpool been at the best, I think they could have quite easily took all 3 points there. But it was important to avoid defeat as well. I think it's important to point that out. So yeah, move on. Still 6 points clear. Yeah.
Hopefully it stays that way. Just a few more numbers there. Liverpool took 10 shots, United 7, and the XG finished at United 0.79, Liverpool 1.03. But if you look at the shot maps, 0.57 of United's is the Rashford goal, and 0.6 of Liverpool's is the Lallana goal. So
it's accumulation of low quality chances, really.
Yeah, it was just a terrible game. Two sides that we did say in the preview can defend. We said United can defend. They showed that. Liverpool are obviously good defensively. So it was just a pinball match in the middle of the park for large periods, I think. We'll move on. Get away from that one. I think hopefully next time. I think it'll be a bit of a different story at Anfield, but I just think next time we go to Old Trafford, I think Klopp's got to accept that a different approach is needed in terms of just an alternative attacking dynamic. Something from the midfield, more offensive players in the midfield that are inclined to take more risks and put less of the burden on the fullbacks, because it's just trickier to have an offensive influence from a deeper position at a place such as Old Trafford when you're up against the likes of Marcus Rashford. He's quick and threatening. It's just tricky. So we'll move on and we'll briefly touch on Genk, who we're going to face this week. Quite unknown, I think it's safe to say.
Yeah. Funny enough, I did do a little bit of research on them, but I
think it's going to be a comfortable one, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's not going to be a great deal to be fearful of here.
I noticed they're unbeaten in 6 Champions League home matches, including qualifiers, that is, which I thought was quite interesting. Because obviously Napoli went there and drew 0-0.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's quite surprising, actually, because Red Bull obviously beat them 6-2 away.
Battered them,
Yeah.
But I also noticed that they've played 14 matches in the Champions League group stage and haven't won any, so...
Yeah, well, I had a look at them myself. From my perspective, this season, they look to have regressed compared to last year. That's just complete... That's without watching a match from start to finish with them. Yeah, just numbers. They look as though, at the minute, they're about the 4th or 5th best in Belgium, which is not great.
How do you think that's comparable to the Premier League?
Exactly, yeah, exactly. I don't think it is. I think it's probably a division below.
Yeah, Championship.
But, their preferred formation seems to be 4-2-3-1. After 11 league matches over in Belgium, they're currently 6th. 1-5, lost 4. They don't seem to really have, strict performance indicators, really, in terms of, they don't really dominate possession. They don't think the high pressers either. They haven't really got major counter-attacking threats, I don't think. They're just a bit of a beige team, I think.
The one thing I did notice, and I'm similar to you, you read a few things, but really you're just looking at the numbers here. We have no idea, but apparently they've scored at least one goal in 30 of the last 32 European matches, which makes you think they might find a way through. But the chances are, we're going off that Salzburg result, that they'll probably let 4 or 5 in at the other end.
Yeah, one thing you'd have to look at for that is who they've faced. Because if last season, for example, they were in the Europa League, which I'm assuming they were, I doubt they got out the group. So they will have faced generally, you know what I mean? So you'd have to look into that one, I suppose. But I think the big loss suffered against Salzburg is quite ominous for them.
Well, if you wanted the performance indicator, I guess that might be one.
Well, one of the reasons I mentioned this, though, is because I've said before, I think we are a similar version.
A more evolved version.
Yeah, a more evolved version of Salzburg, similar types of game. Very vertical. Counter-attacking football, counter-pressing. So that doesn't bode particularly well for Genk. In terms of danger men, there is one player I think that a few people will be aware of, and another that I've wrote about myself, but I think the main player is Sander Berg. I think I've mentioned him briefly before.
Yeah,
he's probably going to get a bigger moves at sometime soon, but
probably.
And he's been linked with Everton at times as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Yeah, don't think that won't happen now, but yeah, he's deep line midfielder, strong, good passer, isn't he? I mean, all round good player. Yeah,
a little bit of an all rounder, but he's really physically built. He'll be standing out in the midfield. And the other lad that stood out to me a bit more is a lad called Samate. He was linked to Cardiff about a year ago. I was right about him at the time. He had a decent goal record, quite quick. Liverpool played Porto last year, and Porto have got a lad up front called Marega, I think it is.
I'll take your word for that, mate.
He's nowhere near as good as Marega, but he's got that about him in terms of little bit of an all-rounder, quite quick, quite physical, knows where the net is, can lead the line on his own. But, having said that, against the Liverpool standard defence, I don't think he'll stand out as much as Marega did. So I don't think there's much of a need to elaborate much more on that, because I do think it'll be the equivalent of facing maybe a top end championship team or something like that. Maybe.
I wonder what Klopp will do with his side for that game.
I think we'll rotate, but at the same time we did lose to Napoli, so we do have to win.
Yeah.
And it is away from home, as you said. But I do think we'll see a few new faces, surely. I think maybe
you might reward, say, Lallana, for example.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking then Naby and Ox both played very well. I think Joe Gomez is still lingering about for the start, and you don't know. Maybe even Asian, you don't even know.
Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah. Reward him, because obviously he must be a bit gutted, even though he should have known it was coming to be.
Yeah, I must say though, I highly doubt he's going to start. Actually, I'm doubting myself immediately now.
He actually needs to get fit, doesn't he, Alisson? Really? Yeah. And I don't mean he's a goalkeeper. I'm not talking physically, but just get that match sharpness again as a at elite level.
And Klopp said that Salah is a maybe, but I'd be surprised if he throws Salah in, considering what we may be fighting for in a couple of months' time. It's just not worth risking Salah in a match like this.
Can I just say, by the way, I just on talking rotation, I won't keep it because we have to move on, but I watched Sepp van der Berg for the first time in the flesh anyway on Sunday, and I think he's going to be a phenomenal player,
Did he look good, yeah?
Yeah, so he made 2 mistakes, right? One that led to a goal, which sounds bad, but he's still just 17, isn't he? So that stuff happens at that age, but he just looks effortless on the pitch. It looks so easy for him. Like he doesn't even have a red face. You know what I mean? It's like he's been running around, doesn't seem to be breaking a sweat. He's composed on the ball when he needs to take a touch to drive out. He does great in duels. I hope he gets a little run out this season.
Yeah, well, we met, didn't we, recently with Analytics FC?
Yeah.
And they did put in a brief little note about Sepp van den Berg, that they were kind of aware of him before he got a big move. Just that he showed up really well in terms of numbers and things like that. So Yeah, he's certainly a player to look on, yeah.
Just in an ideal world, Liverpool managed to get it all boxed off with the game to go. It'd be great to just see him get a little test.
Yeah. So we'll move on to Spurs anyway, because this could be anything really.
Yeah.
At the minute, the way Spurs are going. Some of Spurs' numbers is crazy.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're going to delve into it now, but you would be surprised considering this is the team that was in the Champions League final last year. They haven't really sold anyone of note.
No. Actually made good recruitments.
Yeah, they brought in a few players, albeit not at ideal times.
Yeah.
Still got the manager. But defensively, we'll start. Currently third bottom for shots faced, which is an ominous sign as it is. And if you look at the XG, expected goals against, fourth bottom for that. You just seem to be a defensive shambles at the minute.
Yeah, just on that though, because I was working on like a Spurs evolution piece under Pochettino recently, as you know. Yeah, and I did notice that last season he conceded 39 league goals, which was the highest since Pochettino's first season. But the expected goals against was 51.64.
Yeah.
Which is kind of alarm bells straight away, really.
I think Elise actually had a good season in terms of numbers. I think he overperformed Elise.
Which, yeah, obviously you normally see top teams overperform, but that didn't feel like a Liverpool or City. It felt like alarm bells.
Yeah.
And then if you look at the defence, really, a lot of them were expected to move in the summer. Rose stayed behind to get a move, didn't happen, and now he's reliant on that same aging defence.
Yeah, well, being third bottom for shots faced, being fourth bottom for XG against, that is relegation team numbers. They're in relegation zones there. They're, in and around the bottom sides in the league, really. And I think a lot of it stems from their pressing game has just diminished gradually. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's to do with a lack of interest mentally. Obviously, players like Eriksen maybe thinking about moves, and Danny Rose being aware that he's not really wanted, and players like that. I think that has coincided with a group that's aged a little bit. Obviously, Lo Celso's come in, but he's injured.
Yeah.
Sessegnon's come in, but he's injured. And Dombele's come in, but he's been a bit in and out up to now. So I think they're having real problems at the minute for PPDA. They are 12th.
I must say, obviously, you sent over that agenda, revealing what goes on behind the scenes here. But I didn't realise they dropped so low, because they've really been there or thereabouts for the last few years under Pochettino. It was a real pressing side, But everything about them, like, the fluid in attack, aren't they? The versatile, they just don't seem the same side at the moment.
But I think that the pressing's a real worry there. If you're 12th in the league for pressing frequency high up the field,
as a top side,
then you're just a beige pressing team. There's no high pressing, there's no real dropping off either. It's just kind of a middle of the road approach, which it's just not what you'd associate with Spurs or Pochettino.
No, so for them especially, as a top side, it should be dominating really, and that's always been their kind of ethos of pressing. For it to be that low, it's a shock. And they've played a real mixed bag of opponents as well. It's not like they've played Liverpool and City and real top sides. They haven't. Yeah,
I think Liverpool as well. Liverpool's pressing's gradually, very slightly decreased year on year under Klopp. But I think that's been intentional. That's been a means of controlling the game state at the time. We've obviously been leading a lot more frequently as we've developed.
Yeah.
Whereas Spurs, I don't think it's intentional. I don't think this would be something that they'll particularly want. And I think it's resulted in basically a lack of control. I think a lot of what Pochettino's done at Spurs, a lot of what Spurs' game's been about is they've had a real elements of control over matches. The aggressive game that they've got, how complete their centre-backs have been. I think it's provided a platform for the likes of Eriksen and, I'm not sure, Kane, Dele Alli, to just take risks on the ball, just constantly take risks. And if those risks don't come off, we'll be fine. We'll regain the ball and then do it again. But I think with that defensive game diminishing a bit, they're still taking some of those risks, but they're not as safe after they are taken, and then they're being opened up. They're conceding first a lot of the time lately as well, so they're having to chase games.
They're also surrendering leads as well. They've took something like, I think it's they took lead 4 of the last 6 games and conceded again by half time.
But I think, taking these risks when you're not in a position to, and you haven't got a pressing game, you haven't really got a controlling game about you, a team that you don't want to face is Liverpool.
Yeah.
And a team that comes to mind who they've faced recently is Bayern Munich. Obviously, what was the score for that? 7-2, was it?
Yeah, I
like
have
that.
enough fingers to count.
But Bayern, obviously, they didn't create a massive XG, but they were given constant transition moments.
Yeah.
Whereby the chance was there if you was good enough to convert. And I think Liverpool have got attackers like that. Obviously, Gnabry was on his game on the day, but he's in the mould of Sadio Mane. Lewandowski was on his game. Maybe Firmino's going to have a day like that. If Salah plays, Salah's obviously very, very hungry on the attacking side of the game. Obviously, wants to be very involved. So I don't think it bodes well for him at all. I think this could be quite bad if it goes the way the numbers are suggesting, at least, and the way the season's gone.
Yeah. I mean, I can't really add much more to that, do I? think that it's gonna, if they could manage to get results, it'd be interesting to see if they could kickstart the campaign. And I think this would say a lot for them in terms of overcoming adversity. But I just can't see it. I think Liverpool are the worst possible opponents. I don't actually think they like playing Liverpool anyway. But I don't know what the recent record's like, but from what I can gather, or from what I can
Anfield,
remember, it's not great, is it?
I don't think, no.
Thought they'd give a good account of themselves in the second half last season at Anfield, and that was mainly down to Pochettino and his ability to adapt in game. Oh yeah.
I mean, I've just got up. I've just got up the City game. When Spurs played City at the Etihad, City posted an XG of 3.2, and if you look at the shot map, how many is that inside the box? That's a lot.
Yeah, it's all.
Haven't got enough time to count. And Spurs on the attacking side going forward posted an XG of 0.07, which is the equivalent of about one free kick, really, from about 25 yards, maybe, something like that. And I think, Spurs on the attacking side of the game, let's have a look at them now. On the attacking side of the game, Spurs are currently 9th for shots taken in the league, 8th for XG. And on the whole, they're being outshot at the minute. They're facing about 15 per match, and they're shooting about 12 times themselves. That's in the Premier League and the Champions League. So they are really, if you didn't know Spurs...
If you were looking at that as a profile of a side, you wouldn't...
Yeah, if you was looking at that as like a data analyst without any football knowledge at all, you would think that was a 15th... a 10th to 15th placed team in the division, maybe, something like that, if not worse. It's just the fact that, obviously, it's Tottenham, it's Pochettino, it's the likes of Harry Kane, that we consider this to be a threat, but based on the numbers, this could be quite a beating. And another thing as well, I don't think Pochettino is as inclined as Solskjaer was to do what Solskjaer did recently. This
put
weekend.
pride to one side and adapt his side's tactics.
And I don't think he's got the backing of his players as much as Solskjaer.
I was just about to
say
earlier before we were laughing at that XG map from the City game. They gave a good account of themselves at the game in Anfield. I think we can disregard the Champions League final. It was a bit of a mess in terms of a game, wasn't it? But at Anfield, I thought second half he adapted it really well. Pushing Rose into midfield, and it did catch Liverpool off guard, stifled them, and they were good. But as you were just touching on there, I don't think he could just adapt and overcome Liverpool midway through a game this time around. I don't think the players are totally on board with him. And that's one of his strongest assets, really, isn't it? His tactical nous.
Yeah, no, I think Pochettino's generally really, really good tactically. I think his approach in the Champions League finals seemed to be centred on, playing the ball around until you're in positions whereby you can get like overloads on the flanks against the likes of Trent. Obviously, double up on them and get crosses into the box and that sort of thing. I think there's logic there to that. But the formations that Pochettino's used this season, he's used plenty. He's used 4-2-3-1. He's used a diamond. He's used 3-4-3. And I think Liverpool's toughest games this season for me have been against United and Sheffield United. Both of those used 3 at the back, 5 at the back systems, whatever you want to call it. I think Pochettino will probably go down that route, 3 at the back. But I just don't think they'll have the concentration and the desire of, let's say, the United, Sheffield and Manchester. I think both of those really committed to the cause on the day, and Spurs just don't seem interested lately.
Yeah,
they don't seem.
Agree. It's like they're waiting for something to happen.
You don't seem united. They don't seem all in unison.
No, I agree.
So it will be interesting to see how it goes. I can see a beating, but we'll come to the verdict at the end anyway, which is soon. But I just want to briefly mention Harry Kane because those that follow analytics, I think, have picked up on, although not many seem to be saying it, but they've picked up on Harry Kane seems to have really declined in the course
you know what's happening
years.
though, don't you? He's right now. So obviously we know a little bit more, and the people who listen to this show look into it in a bit more detail. But if you look at Harry Kane now, he's got 13 goals in 14 appearances for club and country. So on paper you think it's Kane, as he always has been. But obviously 6 of them have been padded out with penalties, which is really important to note.
I must say as well, I think considering his role, obviously he's a striker, top end of the field, he will have naturally suffered from his team. Yeah. So if Spurs have gradually regressed, I think it's quite natural for Kane to also do so.
No, fair, yeah.
If you was to put Salah in, I'm not sure who'd do it. If you was to put Salah in Rashford's place at the minute, I think Salah would naturally post pretty bad numbers in that United team.
Yeah, no, it's an important caveat to know that actually, give him some credit.
But I think Kane's peak was not last season before. I think he was posting about, he got to a point where he was posting up 5.3 shots a match, which is ludicrous. Which is Messi and Ronaldo numbers. But now he's averaging, I think this season he's averaging in the Premier League about 3. Either side of 3, it's really, really close. But he just doesn't seem to be the complete elite level striker that he once was, certainly according to the numbers. As I said, it seems to have coincided with Spurs' downfall, the gradual decline that Spurs have suffered since. When has it been since? Since like maybe Dembele's sale?
Yeah, January time. They haven't really replaced that kind of force within midfields. And okay, probably he was suffering with injuries and stuff, wasn't he? In the back end last season, but he was a big player for Tottenham. Yeah,
when I say Dembele's sale, I meant Dembele's decline really. At the start of that season, he was no longer the physical monster that he was.
And he was huge for their kind of transitional play, wasn't he?
Yeah, that control aspect that I've just mentioned, he was huge in the centre of the park.
Yeah.
And I think they've just gradually lost that. They seem to have replaced that with Ndombele, but because of just the whole unit at the minute, any player there is going to look a bit uninterested or flawed. Or
it's hard to come into that environment, I think, and when it's going well and join a new league.
I still maintain, I said it at the start of the season, I've wrote about it since, I still maintain that once Spurs gets to the point whereby maybe Eriksen's gone and Ndombele's fully integrated, Lo Celso's fully integrated, Sessegnon is playing consistently at left back, I do think they will be a good team again. It sounds crazy. And I think Dele Alli as well. Dele Alli's another one that we shouldn't forget. I just think
it's easy to though. He's been so quiet for the last 12 months.
Yeah, he has. But I just think once the overhaul that's still in progress almost is kind of finished, I do think we'll see them come back to what we know. But it just remains to be seen whether it will get so bad before that some kind of drastic change might have to happen. But I personally wouldn't.
No, definitely not. I think Pochettino is as close as he's not in the same bracket, but he's up there for me with just below the likes of Klopp and Guardiola. I think he's that good of a manager. I really, really do like him. So I understand Spurs in a rut, but they're not going to get relegated, are they? So as you've just said, there is light at the end of the tunnel. There's a change going through. I think they just need to ride it out with him, even if that means having a bad season.
Yeah. So we will conclude it there. Verdict, predictions. What do you think?
I'm not as confident as you as a hammering. I don't think I've tipped anything but Liverpool winning. That's not going to change for this one either. I fancy a 3-1. I think
3-1.
Yeah.
I think my confidence just stems from if you look at Spurs again as from a data analyst perspective, away from the football knowledge, they just look on paper as though they're another Norwich.
You know what, though, right?
Like a team that will dominate more of the ball than you will, but they won't really penetrate that much with it, and they'll concede loads on the other end.
Yeah.
Vulnerable to counters. They just seem like a bit of a Norwich, and I think that's really dangerous against.
No, I agree, but
Liverpool.
What I feel like we're seeing now, and you've already touched on it with the two Uniteds, we're seeing sides now find an extra 10 or 15% every week against Liverpool because it's Liverpool.
But we didn't see that with City. Surely that would have happened at the Etihad.
I don't know, and maybe you know what, you could be right, and whenever we do the next show, it could be a 4 or 5-0, and you'll be sitting there smug, and I'll be the loser in that situation. But it wouldn't surprise me if. Don't forget as well, this is the team that ruins their chances of being Champions League winners. There.
Yeah.
They might just find an extra 10%. So I'm not saying Liverpool won't win. I'm not even saying it won't be a dominant performance. I'm just saying they might keep the scoreline respectable.
Yeah, maybe so. I just think Liverpool are relentless at home. You know, at Anfield, considering the mentality that Spurs have got at the minute, really vulnerable on the break, which Liverpool are arguably the best in the world. You know, in transition.
Yeah.
I just think it's looking dangerous for Spurs. I think we played them a few seasons ago at Wembley, and I think we only ended up winning 2-1, but we absolutely battered them on the break. We should have scored at least 5 on the day. But Salah Mane was just really wasteful, and I can just see it going. I think the XG on that day was like 3.5 or something like that. To Spurs is like 0.5 maybe or something.
Another City.
I can just see it going that way if Spurs aren't at it. Obviously they're good enough individually and the manager to keep us out for large periods, but I just think looking at their situation at the minute, it looks strange, and looking at their numbers, it's just I'm going to go for I'm going to play it relatively safe.
Go on, in for the penny, in for the pound, mate, go on.
Even relatively safe, I'm going to say 3-0.
Okay, yeah.
But even that, I do think it could be mad. I think it could be... it could not be. It could be... I'm not as confident with this one. It could be 3-0. It could be another Salzburg game. Yeah. Or it could be a 1-1. Genuinely. But
I feel like you're covering all bases. I
am covering all bases. No, most of my confidence lies with Liverpool really, really damaging Spurs on the break. Yeah. That's what I'm going to predict. I'm going to predict a 3-0. But you know, don't quote me on that one as much as we do, much as we usually do.
I feel like we've had a good run recently with results.
Yeah.
If it's anywhere around Liverpool scoring 3, then we've done all right again.
Yeah, predicting a dominant win anyway.
Yeah,
predicting a comfortable win. So we will be back next week, Thursday-ish, after the Arsenal League Cup tie. Probably still be joined by yourself, Dave. Enjoy your week off, though.
Yeah, thank you, mate. I will. Yeah.
Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next week. Thanks.
Cheers.